2021 Territorial Cup is in the books, and ASU took this one the fifth time in a row that they've been able to keep the Territorial Cup in Tempe. Alongside Zach Elvira, I'm Jordan Ham. And Zach, as we look at this game, it was the bread and butter of the Herm Edwards era. Strong run game, strong defense, some timely passes, and they were able to pull away with the win.
Yeah, no, it was a great game defensively for the Sun Devils. The one play that really sticks out, obviously, Jack Jones' interception there in the fourth quarter, and then the fumble recovery by Tyler Johnson there. I think it was in the first half where they set up the Rashad White touchdown run. Obviously, just a one yard drive for the Sun Devils there, which that was one of only, I think, 3 or 4 offensive touchdowns that they actually had on the day. Their defense really did play lights out, but I mean, just in general, it was a very good defensive game for the Sun Devils as usual, and that's kind of been. The games that I've covered with this team, it always seems to be that second half defense that really kind of gets them over that hump. I saw it against UCLA. I saw it against USC earlier on this season against, UNLV. I saw it. I mean, it's kind of been, like you said, their bread and butter, and they're able to get it done in probably one of the most important games for this program in quite a while.
Yeah, and you have a U of A team that has struggled in the red zone. They have been able to move the ball, not get it in the end zone. Sun Devils able to take advantage there. I did some math. In the 4 Territorial Cup wins for Herm Edwards, the Sun Devils have forced 14 turnovers and turned the ball over 0 times. So that is a recipe for success.
Just a very strong performance. I'm going to keep saying that, but I mean, in reality, that's what it was. I mean, the offense struggled a bit. They didn't have a ton of production from Jaden Daniels. I think he only had maybe 86 passing yards. I didn't get the final stats, but I know he was at 86 passing, 86 rushing, which is, become a theme for him because he's just such a dual threat quarterback. But Rashad White, I think he was close to 100 yards of rushing. Mm-hmm. So, not a great offensive performance for them, but their defense stepped up when they needed them to.
Yeah, didn't feel like they had to have that great offensive performance.
Exactly.
All right, so 8 wins on the year. Mm-hmm. By most standards, a pretty good year for ASU, although this year the expectations were a little bit higher. Yeah. You throw in an NCAA investigation. You throw in 3 coaches on administrative leave, Antonio Pierce not going out and recruiting. Yeah. A lot of questions were swirling about his future, but it sounds like Chase Lucas said that Ray Anderson came into the locker room and said, Herm's coming back, and Herm spoke pretty openly about that. So just what do you make of that decision and that announcement right off the bat, and where do they go from here?
I think it's one of those announcements that is going to be favored by some fans and not so favored by others. I mean, you and I have seen it on Twitter. We've heard it on the radio. We've heard it on TV. A lot of people wanted a change. And I think this game, if ASU would have not just lost the game, but I think if they weren't able to pull away like they did against Arizona, that would have been basically the last straw for a lot of people. But I think the way that the defense played, I think the way that the offense kind of responded when they weren't doing very well at times, and overall just their ability to win this game, I really do think was the tipping point to kind of bring Herm back. Obviously, the investigation is another thing. We don't know what's going to come of that. Obviously, it seems like right now it's not really going to affect Herm. It may not affect some of the coaches that are still on staff right now and that are not on administrative leave, like you just mentioned. But where do they go from here? I think they need to turn a page. I think it's time to kind of turn the page, do a new, kind of like a reset of the Herm era. You're obviously not resetting without him, but just kind of a reset with him this time. They do have a bowl game coming up. They'll know more, I think Herm said, in the next week or two. And he said himself that Monday morning, he's going to be watching film, looking at the transfer portal and seeing who he can probably bring into, or possibly, I should say, bring in to help this program out.
And I think that's going to be the key there. The recruiting class, a lot is to be desired, both in quantity and quality. A lot of it because of that investigation. But the transfer portal, that's a different game. Yeah. It is very much a business transaction almost, where I can get 2 years of playing time, or I can get 1 year of playing time out of you. Come on over. You have some experience. They've had success with the offensive line, bringing in guys. Jack Jones was in the transfer portal, so a lot of success there. So I think they can revamp it, but that's going to be, I think, the wild card for this offseason moving forward, to seeing if they take a big step back, if they take a slight step back, or if all of a sudden 8 wins now is the ground floor, that's the standard, and then it's double-digit wins is the next step for them.
And I know for a fact that that's not where they want to stay. They don't want to just get 8 wins every year. I mean, Herm did mention, last year you take out of the equation because they only played 4 games, but they've actually improved every year, essentially, from when he was hired here 4 years ago. Obviously winning 4 straight in the Herm era of the Territorial Cup, and then winning 5 straight overall is a big step in the right direction itself. But he wants that 9th win. He wants that 10th win. He wants that Rose Bowl appearance and that Pac-12 championship appearance. And that's a good thing. He's not settling. And he even said himself that this season was a little disappointing for him. I think, before you and I were kind of talking about it, and it was, how would you describe the season? I'd say it's a roller coaster because it was super high in the preseason. Then it was like, okay, how are they going to bounce back from this? The BYU loss was one of them. Then it was the Utah loss. Then it was the whatever happened against Washington State. I mean, it was just bad for at times, and then at times it was really good as well. So it really was a roller coaster of a season. I know Herm wasn't satisfied. He told us that in the press conference. And I know for a fact that some of those players aren't satisfied either because they want that Pac-12 championship and they want that Rose Bowl appearance. So, I mean, you can really, like I said, turn the page from here and just try to improve like you have every year since.
A lot of questions moving forward in this offseason, but we do have an answer. 38-15 Territorial Cup win for the Sun Devils. The Territorial Cup will stay in Tempe for one more year.